Ohanaeze Ndigbo makes a big move to meet with US President Donald Trump regarding genocidal attacks on Igbos in Nigeria. A representative of former US President Donald Trump is reportedly set to meet with Igbo leaders known as Ohanaeze Ndigbo to discuss issues raised in a recent book by former Nigerian military ruler Ibrahim Babangida, IBB. Ibrahim Babangida, former military president of Nigeria from 1985 to 1993, published an autobiography titled A Journey in Service, which revealed previously undisclosed details about Nigeria's political history, including the 1966 coup. Ibrahim Babangida stated in his book that the Igbo people were not responsible for the 1966 coup, contradicting a long-held belief that led to political and economic marginalization of the Igbo ethnic group. Following the book's revelations, the Ohanaeze Ndigbo group demanded an official apology from Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and 10 trillion naira in compensation for the historical injustices suffered by the Igbo people. However, President Tinubu and his administration have not responded to the demands, prompting Ohanaeze Ndigbo to seek alternative ways to get justice. The group wrote to governors from the southeastern region of Nigeria, urging them to pressure the federal government for a response. However, none of the governors took any action. Ohanaeze Ndigbo also requested the southeastern governors to push for the release of Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, who is currently detained in Nigeria. However, no political leader responded. Frustrated by the lack of response in Nigeria, Ohanaeze Ndigbo sent a formal letter to representatives of Donald Trump and the US government, urging them to intervene in Nigeria's political system regarding Igbo rights and justice. The letter was received by Eleanor Holmes Norton, a US congresswoman representing Washington, D.C. She is reportedly handling the matter and reviewing Babangida's book. The case is now being examined by US political figures, and a response from the US government is expected soon. In recent times, there has been an important development that has captured the attention of political observers and communities affected by historical injustices in Nigeria. The Igbo community, long marginalized and subjected to a series of grievances spanning decades, now finds itself at the center of an international dialogue that could have far-reaching consequences. The organization known as Ohanaeze Ndigbo has taken a bold step by seeking justice on a global stage. This move comes in the wake of revelations made in a recent publication written by the former Nigerian military ruler Ibrahim Babangida, who served as Nigeria's military president from 1985 to 1993. His autobiography, A Journey in Service, provides an inside look at the inner workings of Nigerian politics and revisits long-forgotten historical events. Ibrahim Babangida's book sheds new light on the infamous coup of 1966, a turning point in Nigeria's history that has long been associated with the marginalization of the Igbo people. For many years, the narrative held that the Igbo community was responsible for the coup, a belief that contributed to their political and economic exclusion. However, in his autobiography, Ibrahim Babangida challenges this conventional account by stating that the Igbo were not responsible for the coup, a revelation that calls into question decades of accepted history. This new perspective has ignited a fervor among Igbo leaders who now demand recognition for the injustice that has been inflicted upon their community. In response to these revelations, Ohanaeze Ndigbo has called on Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to issue a formal apology and to provide compensation totaling 10 trillion naira. The organization argues that the Igbo people have endured historical injustice and that an official acknowledgement of these wrongs is long overdue. When the Nigerian government, led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, failed to address these demands, the leaders of Ohanaeze Ndigbo found themselves with few domestic options. They initially turned to local political channels, writing to the governors of the southeastern region of Nigeria in hopes that regional leaders would pressure the federal government to act. Unfortunately, the governors did not respond, leaving the community feeling abandoned by their own political system. Further deepening their sense of frustration, Ohanaeze Ndigbo also called for the release of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, who is currently detained in Nigeria. This plea for Nnamdi Kanu's freedom is not only about an individual, but represents a broader struggle against political repression and for self-determination. The call to release Nnamdi Kanu underscores the wider context in which the Igbo community feels oppressed and highlights the interconnected nature of their grievances. With domestic avenues proving unresponsive, the leaders of Ohanaeze Ndigbo decided to take their cause to an international level. They sent a formal letter to representatives of former United States President Donald Trump, appealing to the international community to intervene on behalf of the Igbo people. The letter, which details the controversial revelations in Ibrahim Babangida's autobiography and outlines the long history of injustice suffered by the Igbo community, is both a plea for justice and a strategic effort to draw global attention to their plight. This appeal is significant because it represents an effort by a local group to seek international arbitration in what many would consider a domestic matter. The letter from Ohanaeze Ndigbo eventually reached the office of United States Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton, who represents the District of Columbia. Known for her long-standing commitment to justice and human rights, Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton is now reviewing the contents of Ibrahim Babangida's book and assessing the claims made by the Igbo leaders. Her involvement lends the issue international legitimacy and raises the possibility that international pressure could spur the Nigerian government into addressing the grievances. The prospect of a meeting between a representative of former United States President Donald Trump and the leaders of Ohanaeze Ndigbo has generated considerable excitement, as it might signal the beginning of a more active international role in addressing the historical grievances of the Igbo community. This unfolding situation is not merely about historical revision, it is a story of a community fighting for recognition and fairness in a system that has long ignored their pleas. The Igbo people, who have made significant contributions to Nigeria's cultural, economic and political life, have often felt sidelined by a historical narrative that does not accurately reflect their experiences. The revelations in Ibrahim Babangida's autobiography have acted as a catalyst for renewed activism among Igbo leaders and community members. They are now demanding that the Nigerian government acknowledge the true course of history and take concrete steps to rectify the wrongs that have been inflicted upon them. This is the end of our news update. Please click the icon on the top right corner of your screen to watch my next video. You will enjoy it. I will see you again in my next update. Enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye for now.